Have you ever been talking to a prospect and heard them say, "Now you're speaking my language"? If you have, or if you haven't and you can imagine hearing that, that's an incredibly powerful moment. The prospect likes what they hear, they understand what they hear, and it's a total buying sign if a prospect says that. Now imagine having a sales pitch so strong that you consistently hear that. And while that might be ambitious or might seem unrealistic, it is realistic to have a sales pitch where at least your prospect feels that way. They feel like they understand what you're saying, they like what you're saying. That's what we're going to talk to you here today, and you can achieve that by having more buyer persona focused sales and marketing campaigns. Now, this is actually a fairly difficult thing to consistently do because we actually speak a different language than our prospect. Our language is very focused on the products we sell and the company we sell to. Now, you got to keep in mind, if you're a salesperson or a business owner, you live and breathe the stuff that you try to sell every day. I mean, you could say that this is what you work on and you think about 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, but that might be an understatement. It might actually be more than that. When you speak about features and when you use certain terminology or acronyms, while it all makes crystal clear sense in your head, it can sometimes seem like a foreign language to your prospect. And your buyer speaks a different language. They live and breathe the stuff that they work on every day, which is the business they work for, the product they sell, the role that they have. So they have their own terminology, their own acronyms. You can improve your sales results by speaking their language and resisting the urge to speak yours. And this is what we're here to talk to you about today. We're going to show you how to create buyer persona based campaigns. What this will allow you to do is you're going to have unique campaigns for the different buyer personas that you sell to, so it's going to make it easy for you to speak the prospect's language. This process is going to make your messaging that you create more about them and less about you, so it's going to be more powerful. And because it's going to be in their language and focused on their business and their life, and we're here talking about building campaigns, so let's talk real quickly about what a campaign is in the way that we use the word campaign. A campaign is a set of talk tracks, talking points, everything that you say while you're trying to drive demand for a particular product or group of products when you're communicating out to a particular audience. Now, you could have one campaign that you use all the time, and this is what a lot of salespeople and business owners do. They say the same thing regardless of what they're trying to sell and regardless of who they're trying to sell to, and that's okay. But you can improve your results if you have a different campaign for the different people that you sell to. For example, you could create campaigns targeting different industries. Your product might operate the exact same way whether it's used by one industry versus another, but each industry may have different needs and different interests. Let me give you an example. At one point, I sold workforce management software. This helps companies to manage the time and scheduling of employees, and I could sell to manufacturers, I could sell to retail, and I could sell to hospital. Now, the product worked the exact same way. Tracking time that employees work, scheduling shifts, and whatnot. But these three industries had very different employees and different needs. Manufacturers had more union labor, more operational needs. Retailers had a lot of part-time employees and had a lot of peak hours, off-peak hours. Medical had a lot of nurses and skilled labor, different certifications, and a lot of scheduling and intricacies with always needing certain level of skills on staff at certain times. So there's different hot buttons, different pain points, different interests in these different industries, even knowing the product operates basically the same way and provides the same features and functionality. Now, you could go out there and just say the same thing and have the same pitch for all these different industries, but you can take your game to the next level, communicate more clearly, generate more interest, make a better impression if you have campaigns that are tailored to these different industries. We can actually take that one step further to say inside these companies are different departments. And so even if we're all only selling to manufacturers, there could be different departments at a manufacturer that we might be able to sell to. We might be able to sell to finance, to HR, to IT. Now those could be different buyer personas or different campaigns as well, but an HR VP is going to care about slightly different things than a VP of finance. So again, to improve your results, you can have that tailored message. We could actually go one step further to say once we're dealing with one particular department, there are different levels in that department we might interact with. There, could be a VP level, a director level, maybe a manager level. Now, even knowing within one department the needs are fairly similar, a VP of IT might have different needs and different interests than an IT manager. So again, depending on how granular you want to get, you could have different campaigns. Now I put all that out there, and that could look a little intimidating. And I want you to know you don't have to build buyer persona campaigns for all the different possible audiences. What you want to do is eventually you want to have a handful of different campaigns that target the buyer personas you interact with and are targeting the most. We also are a firm believer here at SalesScripter of crawl, walk, run. So don't let this overwhelm you. Just start with building one buyer persona focused campaign where you sell the most, and that can be your crawl stage. Walking is going to be to fully get that incorporated into how you work and how you operate. And then you could start to run by developing campaigns for those other buyer personas that you're either starting to add to the mix or that you launch future campaigns for. Now throughout this presentation, I'm actually going to show you some slides of SalesScripter. And this might sound a bit pitchy that I'm pitching the product to SalesScripter, but I really want to show you this for a different reason. And that reason is that I'm concerned that you might see this buyer persona approach as being valuable, but it's a bit intimidating, or it might look a bit cumbersome to either set up or to incorporate for yourself or for your sales team. And SalesScripter actually does a really good job of making it easy to set these up and then making it easy to flip from talking to one buyer persona to talking to another. And I wanted to show you that throughout this to ease your nerves and show you a path that you can incorporate this. But here's a screenshot from SalesScripter, and SalesScripter will give you a library of documents. Now, before you grab a document or when you're changing from one document to another, you can actually select the campaign that you want to access. So this is where you would be able to see a list of all your different buyer persona campaigns. So whether you're grabbing a call script or an email or a voicemail script, if you're shifting from one buyer persona to another between calls or between meetings, you can just easily click from this drop-down menu, and your whole library of tools will then change from the one buyer to the other, meaning your key questions, your key points to make all your scripts change to the content that's needed for the new buyer persona.